Hi Year 6, welcome back, day 3, Wednesday the 20th of January, Miss Mac back again. I think you know that by now. And as Mrs. Hattrick said last week, I'm recording these all at the same time, so I'm not wearing the same clothes every day. So to clear that up once again. Anyway, today we're going to be moving on now and planning our story. So we've worked the beginning of the week watching that clip, storyboarding our ideas. Yesterday, on Tuesday, we were thinking about what dialogue we could include in our story between the characters to really help push the story forward. And today, we're going to be looking at developing our plan and what we need to include in that. So what I want you to do first with yourself, you can say this out loud yourself, or if you're lucky enough to be working with somebody else, we want you to verbally summarize the events in the scene from the clip that you've watched. So think about what happened. Cast your mind back and think and talk through what happened in that scene. This will be really helpful for you to really get a good grip on what you need to include in your story, what the main events are. Then we want you to look back at your storyboard that you created on Monday and expand on that and build your planning around that. Now, as we said on Monday, there were those 4 key images or 4 key points in the film, in the clip, and you created your bullet points for each of those. And now you're going to expand on that for each 4 parts of your story, those 4 paragraphs. So we've said here in your plan, think about how you're splitting those paragraphs. What are you including in each of your different paragraphs in this story? Think about that action and reaction of the characters. So we've talked about this a lot in class, I know, across Year 6. So if a character does something, an action or something happens, what's the other character's reaction? Think carefully about that. Think about when Edmund goes back into the house. What's the action that takes place and what's his reaction to that? Or when Edmund runs back into the house, what's Peter's reaction to Edmund going back into the house? Think about what adverbials you're going to be using as well. We talked about adverbials in our first week of home learning. So those words and phrases that we can use to link our ideas and create that flow in our writing. After that, suddenly, without warning, the next moment. So those are some different examples of some time adverbials you could be thinking of using. What descriptive vocabulary will you use so the reader can imagine that they're there? So we created a lot of descriptive vocabulary last week for our blitz poetry. How can you use some of those ideas or some of the ideas perhaps you had when you were watching the video clips and then use that in your story to really show the reader what's happening? And finally, what powerful verbs will you use as well to show the reader what's happening and how these people are moving? Rather than just, he ran back into the house, you can say he dashed, he darted, he sprinted back into the house. On the next slide, we've also included a colour-coded example plan for our first paragraph. So let's have a little look at that. So you can see here, we thought about this paragraph 1, and we're thinking about starting from when Edmund's at the window. So he's heard these noises, he's perhaps seen some lights through the curtain, and suddenly he's there at the window. So we've got our little outline plan. As you can see, I've used bullet points here because that's how I like to plan. And I've also color-coded the different parts of the different techniques that I've used that we mentioned earlier. So where I thought about my verb choices, those powerful verbs to show how the characters have moved, or adverbial phrases to link my writing to create that cohesion. A relative clause to add that extra information, and then some descriptive phrases as well. The use of adjectives and some of those phrases inspired a little bit as well by the poetry that we did last week on the Blitz. So what we'd like you to have by the end of this session today is your 4-paragraph plan. So a bullet pointed plan for each of those 4 paragraphs that you'll have in your story, ready to go for your writing tomorrow. And thinking carefully, as I said before, about these things that you should be thinking about to include in your planning and in your writing for this week. So I look forward to seeing your plans and hearing how you're getting on, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.